Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's our first new moon ceremony of 2021. How are you guys? Welcome in. Hi. Yay! Happy new moon, everybody. Come on in. I've waited all day to see you. I'm so happy you're here. We have big work to do tonight. Welcome to the first new moon ceremony of 2021. Oh, I love it. And thank you for checking in to let us know where you're tuning in from. And I want to tell you, we are going into our 10th year of new and full moon ceremonies here at Sage Goddess. Sage Goddess is going to turn 10 this year. Can you believe it? Does it feel like we've been doing this for a decade? We have. So I want to thank you for being with me, whether you're brand new tonight. Anybody new tonight? Anybody here for the first time live for moon ceremony with me? How's it going in Tampa tonight? It's great to see you. Jennifer's here in LA with me. Indiana, Ohio, we've got the Midwest in the house. Got Seattle in the house and Colorado. Look at that. All over the beautiful US. And I know we've got some friends who are with us from outside the US too. So thank you as well. Buenos Aires tonight. Maria, wonderful to have you here. So welcome, welcome. Yes, I have had Sage Goddess since 2011. So Sage Goddess will be turning 10 this year. It really doesn't feel like it's been that long. And if you're new, yeah, hopefully you won't feel new for very long. I have so much to tell you tonight, so let's kind of dive right in. So if you're new, every year with the new moons and the full moons, I do something kind of thematic that kind of helps us, you know, put a bow on things and understand the work that we're doing for the year. So this year, actually last year when we were deciding on this year, we decided to focus on divination for 2021. So each month this year in our ceremonies, I'm going to be teaching you a different divination method and talking to you about how I read and work with these different divination tools. And so tonight we're working with tarot. Obviously this is an hour-long ceremony, so I won't be able to teach you all the ins and outs of tarot. I have a pay-per-view series of classes on tarot if you're interested that my team can provide to you. I recorded them years ago, but they're still accurate. You know, it's not like that wisdom goes out of fashion, right? It's the same information. But tonight we're going to talk about the fundamentals of tarot, and we're going to do readings. I get to do live readings for you, and I am so excited to do that. We're going to be working with the Aleister Crowley Thoth Deck. Some people call it the Thoth Deck. I call it the Thoth Deck. It's a fun deck. It's not the deck that I learned on. It is, I learned on the Rider-Waite. I had a very traditional tarot teacher who made us learn on Rider-Waite, because that's in the old days when you were learning tarot in a very official way, you always learned with Rider-Waite. The Thoth deck is different, so I thought, you know, a lot of you probably have the Rider-Waite deck, so let me give you something that's a little bit different. So we're going to work with that tonight. And one of the things I like about the Thoth deck, even though the interpretations and some of the cards themselves are different from Rider-Waite. So how many of you are used to Rider-Waite, and kind of when you work with a Thoth deck, you're like, what is this? Because some of the cards are totally different. But I find that to be exciting, right? It's a little bit different. So we're going to work with that deck tonight, and I'll teach you a little bit about that deck too. What's really interesting about the Rider-Waite deck is that Aleister Crowley worked with Frida Harris, Lady Frida Harris, who did the art for this deck. And the deck actually was published after their deaths. So they never actually got to see the final product of their deck. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like they made it for the rest of us to work with. So we're going to be doing some live readings tonight, which I think is really fun. I'm going to be showing you the cards, inviting you to add your interpretations to the cards too. And this is the new root chakra bowl, so I'm going to be playing this for you tonight as well. What's the difference? I'll tell you a little bit about the differences in just a minute, once I kind of get through the introduction, but some of the suit cards are different. Like instead of queens, or instead of knights, he uses prince. And instead of pages, he uses princesses. That's a little bit different. Queens are the same, kings are, knights are kings in the Thoth deck. Strength in the Aleister Crowley deck becomes lust. Isn't that interesting? The Wheel of Fortune becomes fortune. Subtle things, you know? But what I have found is when you're working with the Thoth deck, at least for me, don't work with it trying to make it the Rider-Waite deck. Work with it as its own tool. Does that make sense? And if you don't have a deck, you are going to get to look at the cards with me. And so even if you don't have a deck at all tonight, please stay with me, because you're gonna play. I'll show you my cards. You get to help me interpret them, right? And then I'm going to drum and play the bowls, and we're gonna set intentions. So I want to back up the truck just a little bit to say, this is a new moon in Capricorn. And we don't get a lot of these. It's one of my favorite new moons of the year. My North Node is in Capricorn. I personally do not read reversals in tarot spreads, for what it's worth. And we can talk about that later if you want to. I mean, I notice them, but I don't read them with intensity the way some people do. So here's what I want to tell you about a new moon in Capricorn. How many of you are Capricorns? Sun, moon, rising, or North Node, your Dharma node? I'm North Node Capricorn. That's all my North Node is in Capricorn and my Venus is in Virgo, and other than that I have no Earth in my chart. So I'm not a very grounded being. It's part of my charm. So any of you have Sun, Moon, Rising, or North Node in Capricorn? I'd be curious to know. Capricorn's in the house. So one of the things I love about Capricorn energy, truly, because Capricorns can be really challenging people. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn, look at how many caps we have in the feed. Saturn is the taskmaster planet, right? So Capricorns tend to be business, you know? They're kind of all business. Capricorns don't like people who are flaky. They don't like people who are insincere. They have a way of sort of bringing you back to your task, bringing you back to your focus. I personally really like that. I find Capricorns deeply inspiring, and I'll tell you why. I mentioned this earlier today too. Look at all our caps, and we need you, especially people like me who are, you know, kind of floating around and real fiery. we need you guys to bring us back down to earth. One of the things that I really find inspiring about Capricorns is they, above every other sign in the zodiac, in my personal opinion, they know why they're here. If you ask a Capricorn what they're here to do on this planet, what their passion is, what their soul path is, what their mission is, it's very rare that they don't have an answer. And usually Capricorns know why they're here from the time they're like 3, 4, 5 years old. I'm here to be a teacher, or I'm here to be a farmer, or I'm here to, and it's just like, well, look at you go, right? And most of the time, whatever your little Capricorn says they're gonna do, they actually grow up and do it. They're on it. I've never known a Capricorn who really, on some level, wasn't here to succeed. And it isn't an ego thing with Capricorns. Do you know what I mean? It's like in their soul. They're here to make progress. They're here to create momentum, to push our civilization forward. At a time when, and happy birthday to you, Sherry. You're here on your birthday. I love you so much. Sherry Dimovich is one of my best friends in the whole world, and it's her birthday today. So we are celebrating you. I love you so much. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your birthday evening to be here with me. It really means the world to me. So we celebrate you. And if you don't know if you have any Capricorn in your chart, go to astro.com. That's my favorite place to go and get a natal chart printed out. You can go to cafeastrology.com too. but I just always go to Astro. It's kind of my default. But what we love about them is how they remind us to be on purpose. And I've never met one who wasn't ambitious, but like I said, it's not about the ego. It's about truly knowing in their heart of hearts and in their soul what they're here to do. And they will put time, effort, energy, money, resources toward making that thing happen. And it's inspiring to watch, because really there's no other sign in the zodiac that does that. Virgos are usually pretty successful too, but and they really do believe in the work that they're doing. Aquarians are very hardworking too, and but Aquarians are here to succeed for the collective. Virgos are here to succeed individually, even though they see themselves as of service, but they're aware of their own individual contribution. But Capricorn is here to succeed personally and carve a path for others. You know, they're incredible mentors, and they're selfless in it. It's not about their ego. You know, sometimes Virgo gets kind of egotistical about their work. Capricorn doesn't, you know, they're just, it's a remarkable thing. So thank you to all of you for, for being here and for sharing in this ceremony with me. Well, you know, sometimes Capricorn parents are tough, because remember, it's governed by Saturn, and Saturn is like, you're going to do this, you're going to do it this way at this time and no other way, and it has to be done right now, and it's pretty much a taskmaster. So, and Team SG, if you wouldn't mind, if offering them a link to get their natal chart, that would be really cool, because it looks like quite a few people don't have access to their natal chart information. And it's a game changer, you guys. I teach astrology in my online classes. We talk about it all the time, and it's just, I think it's, my mantra this year in my classes is know thyself. And one of the most important things you can learn about yourself is your natal astrological profile, which you have to run your natal chart to find that out. And at a minimum, you need to know your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. Everything else after that is just kind of like coloring in the picture. But once you have your sun, your moon, and your rising, you kind of have the overview, the trajectory of what your life plan really is supposed to be. And so I really recommend that you get that if you don't have it already. So Team SG will link to that for you. So what is a new moon in Capricorn all about? Well, what do we do at the new moon? What is the one, I mean, seriously, what is the one most important thing you have to do before you go to sleep tonight? And you have to do it. I mean, if I could, I would squeeze through this screen and watch you until you do it, which is creepy. You have to set intentions tonight. Every month you get this opportunity. It's a cosmic clean slate. Everything starts again tonight. For the next 30 days, you get to dream a new vision into being. And what those intentions should look like and what should inform them, right, is the energy that of the sign that the moon is in, and that's Capricorn. So tonight we're setting intentions for, but you know I would come creep on you if I could. Tonight we're setting intentions for achievement, success, professional growth and development. I am telling you right now, and I've got goosebumps all over while I tell it to you, I'm going to help you tonight. If you want to change your job, get a raise, start a new career, launch, you know, that little side hustle thing you've had for a while that you really wish was your main hustle, you know, like this is the new moon that can actually propel all of that. And we don't have any eclipse activity. It is just clear, open, you know, room to run here with your professional dreams and goals. And there's nothing like this moon. There just really, really isn't. So, and I love it. I love knowing that we've got 2,100 people here tonight who are going to set a trajectory, set an intention and a course for their development this year. And it all starts right here, right now. So I think it's really important. And even if you would say, well, you know what, I don't have a career, or I don't want to work, or, you know, I don't have to work, or something like that. This isn't just about working and making money. I want to be very clear about that, because some people, you know, are blessed. They don't have to work. They're, you know, they have, maybe they're working as a full-time mom at home, right? And they're taking care of their babies, which is honestly the hardest job on the planet. It's being a full-time parent, right? So you might say, well, I don't have a career per se, right? I'm staying at home, I'm taking care of my family. That is a career. That is a job. That is something that you could cultivate some new ways of thinking about that, right? Like maybe you're going to change the way you feed your family, or maybe you're going to, I don't know, adopt a new philosophy or a new approach to parenting, or maybe you're going to reorganize or restructure your home because maybe your kids are home at school with you right now, right? So you do have a way to work with this lunar energy tonight, even if you don't work in the traditional sense, right? Or if you're retired, right? Mickey Flynn. Retirement for me, and this is probably because my North Node's in Capricorn, because I don't think I'm ever going to retire. Retirement sounds really boring to me, I have to say, but I'm a double fire sign and I like to go, go, go and do. I mean, Dave would tell you, I never sit still. So it's really hard for me to think about retirement. But when I do think about retirement, I think about what new opportunities that could bring. You know, maybe, you know, you learn to work with people in a different way, right? Or maybe you finally have the time to sit down and write that book or that memoir or your poems. Maybe you're finally going to take your poetry, or maybe in your retirement, you decide to study art or make something new. Maybe you always wanted to create your own jewelry, and now you finally have the time, you know what I mean, and the space to really think about that. So I really want you to think about tonight what your unique gift is in this lifetime, because you have one. What is your unique gift? What is that thing you do? As I look for my lighter. I know I have a lighter. I'm gonna get up in your face for a second because I gotta climb over here and get my lighter. Oh no, I don't. Go here. What is that thing you do that nobody else can do quite like you? That sounded like Dr. Seuss, didn't it? What is that thing you do that nobody else can do quite like you? You were put here to do that, whatever it is, whether it's, again, tending to your family or owning the coolest yoga studio in the entire Midwest, which is what Sherry does. Maybe it's the way you write, you know? Maybe it's the way you take care of others around you, right? I don't know what it is that you do, but you do something in a way that nobody else can do it, right? I love that. Jessica says, I transform the energy in a room. I bet you do. What is it? Your creator put you here just to do that thing. And I'll tell you, I'm here to do things differently than other people do them. And man, that's been a rough road. How many of you can identify with that? How many of you feel like you're here to break molds? You know, I really tried for most of my teens, 20s, 30s to be like other people. You know, I kept looking around and going, well, maybe if I was more like her. Well, maybe if I was more like him. And finally what I realized is it's not my job to be like any of those people, right? It's my job to find out who I am and then bring that forward. But look at the feed, I love it. Your creativity, you empower other women, you help others, right? You're not here to be like anybody else. And sometimes you're gonna have to break rules and change the paradigm and flip the script and, you know, turn this world upside down a little bit to really be the full essence of who you are. And for a long time, what's really funny in my story anyway, if it helps you, is, you know, I had so many people say, yeah, but you know, you can't do it like that, or nobody else does it like that, or why would you do that? That's weird. And, you know, now of course nobody thinks what I do is weird. But people only support you once something becomes successful, right? Like now that we have a really beautiful community and I've been doing this for a decade, now it's not weird anymore. But at the beginning, it's like, moon rituals online? That's weird, right? But I knew I was meant to do it. And it's developed a really cool online virtual family. And we have really been good friends to each other during this pandemic. I mean, I will tell you, I really don't know what this year would have been like without you. and here in these events and the classes and the work that we do together. Like, I wonder if you realize what an incredible difference you have made in my life this year, and how much I've looked forward to seeing you online and wondered how you're doing and checking in on you and hearing from you and seeing your posts and all of that. So maybe we knew back then, you know, a decade ahead. Yes, create this online container so that when the time comes and all you have is online, it has a sense of authenticity, right? So anyway, just thank you for being here, because you guys have been such a source of beauty and support and joy, and not just for me, but Alexis and Hannah and Claire and all of us who are with you at Sage Goddess all really have felt your love and support this year, and it's made a huge difference. So cheers, and thank you for being. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes for a second. I want you to start to think about what your intentions will be tonight. And here's what I'm going to tell you. This is the other piece of the pie that we have to talk about. And you're welcome to disagree with me, by the way. Everything I teach you is just the world according to Athena. But I'm really good at manifestation. I'm really good at it. And do you want to know the secret? Did you know Sage Goddess was born at a new moon? A lot of you know that, but some of you may not. Sage Goddess was a new moon intention. Yeah, almost, it'll be 11 years ago soon. It was an intention that I set to do this with you. So I'm really good at manifestation because I take advantage of every new moon and I write it all down. I write it all down. Every new moon, and I already did it this morning, I have my coffee, and then I kind of center myself and pray, and I have my crystals, and I have my new moon journal, and I write one full page without stopping, uncensored, and I write in present tense. I need you to do this before you go to sleep tonight. The moon is officially new at 9 p.m. Pacific time tonight, so in 2.5 hours, okay? One page. I'm not asking you to write an essay. I used to teach, right, university, so I could ask you to write an essay. I'm not asking you to write an essay, but it needs to be in your own handwriting. Your own handwriting is magic. It has a frequency, right? So it needs to be in your handwriting. No one else ever needs to read it. I don't share mine with anybody. I share mine with no one. And do you know why? This is the other interesting thing. I don't believe in sharing your intentions, the big long list. I don't believe in that. You can say, well, my intention is to attract new love, but the nitty gritty of it, which your writing has to be nitty gritty. So let's say my high level intention was to attract love, right? Or, you know, that's not really one of my intentions. One of my intentions this year is to experience perfect radiant health, right? So that's a high level. You can share that, but the nitty gritty, when you get into the nitty gritty of absolute comfort in my body and absolute freedom from illness and disease, like all of the nitty gritty details, right down to it, that, you know, that my shoulder will feel this and X and Y and Z. And the way you write your intention, so let's say you're trying to attract prosperity, right? You don't want to say, I hope for, or I wish for, or one day I will have, or I would like to have. Those are not intentions. That's the kind of language that doesn't manifest anything. Because when you say, I would like to have, right? Well, Brianna, you can share your high level intentions, but I'm talking about, if you're talking about exactly to the dollar how much money you're trying to create, and well, let me come back to that in just a second. When you write your intentions, it should be in statements that are clear, in present tense, as if it's already here. I have, I receive, I claim. I have, I receive, I claim. Okay? Does that make sense? And I do a whole page, so I don't count the number of intentions. I write one big block paragraph, and it begins with I have, I am, I receive, I enjoy, I embody, I experience, I celebrate, right? Okay. When you are manifesting something really big, and which I do all the time, I don't talk about those things in particular at all until they have come to pass. And it's really hard for me because I like to talk and I like to share things with people. But when I'm incubating something really, really big, sometimes I won't even share it with Dave. I mean, it is just in my little, it's mine, right? And I keep it close until it pops. Because, and the reason is this, energy builds. The vision builds, it builds, it builds, it builds, right? And the more you talk about it with other people and they start to question it maybe, or why would you do that? Or how come you asked for that much? Or why, it dissipates the energy, okay? Rather than keeping it in a tight bubble. So here with us, when you're sharing your intentions, you might say, my intention is to, you know, I enjoy wealth, or I'm healthy, or I attract love. Those are great to share. But if you are trying to manifest that house down the street, and because you know it's already yours, and you have the house number, you know exactly when you want to move, you know exactly how much money it's going to take to do it, all of those things, you tighten that stuff up and you hold it. Because you want to build energy around it, and the more you talk about it, especially if people start to doubt it and question it, the energy starts to dissipate. Gabriella said it's like your first trimester. It's true. It's like keep that little embryo in there until your second trimester when you start to show, right? Then you can start to say, oh, and you know, I'm having a baby and I'm so excited and it's a girl or whatever, right? I'm not having a baby, by the way. I can't have kids anymore. But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's a metaphor. So that's what I suggest, right? Is that you keep your big intentions a little bit close to you until they really come to pass. When we bought our building for Sage Goddess last year, that was scary. It was the biggest thing I'd ever done. And I really held it very close. A lot of people didn't even know that we were going through the process because I was like, I want to keep this really, really tight. And then once we, you know, closed escrow and did all of that and we're moving, I was able to say, oh, we have a new home. But I really waited to do that. Does that make sense? So I shared my intention. Oh, we're looking to move. I told my community for 2 years because we had to move. We were out of room. So I talked about that, but I didn't say which building, where it was, what it was going to require, how, you know, all of that. I kept that sort of inwarded to myself. So that's what tonight is about. If you've got big magic, right, keep the details close to you. But send energy to them every day. Imagine it like an egg, right, that you're sitting on as a big mama bird. And you're keeping that egg warm and you're nurturing it and you're tending it, but you don't want to disrupt the energy around it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Do you have any questions about intention setting before we get started? Manifesting is really important, and you have to believe it like it's already here. A lot of things in my life seemed impossible at the time, right? I mean, I dropped out of high school, right? My parents' restaurant burned down, and it was just a terrible time. I dropped out of high school, and I went to community college. I have a PhD. That's almost impossible. If I had told anybody when I dropped out of high school that I was going to get a PhD, do you know how hard they would have laughed at me? I laughed at me a little bit. I was like, what a joke. I mean, I didn't even finish high school. You know what I mean? How am I going to get a PhD? So when you're doing things that seem impossible, the more you share it, you know, if you share it with the right people who support you, sure, but they can also undermine your confidence, which sort of challenges the energy around it too. That's a great question from Taylor Hoffman. Is it better to focus on one big intention instead of many? I don't think it matters. Expand your energy field to hold it all. You know what I mean? Some people say it's better to focus on one thing at a time, but I have attention deficit disorder. So, kind of hard for me to do that. I don't think I've ever focused on one thing at a time in my entire life, right? I will tell you, because I believe it with all my heart, if you want something, you can do it. You can get it. You can make it. You can have it. If you ever tell me, oh, I don't think that's possible, I will just be like, you know, tell that to somebody else. You can fix your health. You can heal a broken marriage. You can finish any degree that you want. You can build a beautiful business and life for yourself. You can find a new home. You can heal after heartbreak. I've had clients who were told they could never have children. Now they have a whole big family of their own. There's nothing that I've just seen, I guess, big miracles in my life. So I have radical faith. I really do. I have faith upon faith upon faith. You got to believe, man. That's the key to everything. So, because how many of you are like me, where if you didn't believe, like, you probably wouldn't be sitting here with me right now, right? You're probably here because you believe and it worked. So just keep on doing it. The big challenge for a lot of us in 2020 is we started to feel like dreams were being deferred. So if you feel like you lost any of your magic last year, I really want to encourage you to bring it back. Get your magic back. It's very important. I'm going to light my candle as we get started here. You have to keep magic alive in your heart. Don't stop believing, to quote Journey. Because your belief is everything, right? Your belief is everything. I'm just going back and reading your comments. It's a great question. So Madison asked, are these things that we plan to work on or toward this year or just this month? I would say both. It's nice to have a cycle-based intention, something that you think will manifest or pop in the next 30 days. Because, you know, lunar work is sort of cycle to cycle. But then it's nice to have an annual intention. Where do you want to be on December 31st, 2021? Financially and professionally. Where do you want to be? Write it down. And write it in detail. I claim, I enjoy, I receive, I celebrate. I'm proud of myself because I did this, right? Yeah. Envision it as if it's happening and already happening. Yeah. I love it. Okay, you guys ready? So I lit my candle. I want you to begin to call your energy into present time tonight. I'm going to do a little drumming tonight for you, just a little bit while we set our intentions, and then we're gonna pull some cards from that Thoth deck. I don't have any more of the Thoth decks, but I think you can get them online. I think it's a relatively accessible deck. By the way, I know that a lot of people don't like Aleister Crowley, and I like his deck, but I'm not a proponent of Aleister Crowley. So I just want to be kind of clear about that. And the art on his deck was done by a really incredible artist, and so one of my dear friends has a quote that I really love, and the quote is, "You don't have to like the musician to like the music." So in working with this deck, I don't necessarily feel like I'm connected to that person's energy in any particular way. So up to you, but it's not my bag, so to speak. So just so you know where I kind of stand on that. An interesting figure, but too dark for my taste, without question, right? You can get them on Amazon. Okay, good. Thank you for letting me know that too. Okay, so we're working with Thoth perfume tonight, which is lily, myrrh, and cinnamon. And these are ingredients, by the way, in this particular perfume that are in the holy anointing oil that's mentioned in the Bible. So this is a very ancient combination. I hope you liked it. This is, I can guarantee you from having done so much research over such a long period of time, this smell is exactly what you would have smelled walking into some of the ancient Egyptian temples. They would have been working with these exact ingredients. Now, they wouldn't have been wearing it as perfume. They would have been burning it as incense, right? They would have been burning the dried petals and the resins instead of working with it in a perfume form. So one of the things you can do if you want to experience it like that, instead of anointing with it tonight, you can always light a charcoal disc and pour a little bit of this on there. And then when the smell of that smoke comes, it'll really give you a sense of what those ancient temples in Egypt would have been like. And I think we have just the perfume separately if you want that. I shouldn't say that until I check with Team SG, because they could be somewhere going, no, we don't have it. But if we do, they'll link to it for you so you can get it. It's called Thoth, Thoth. And do you know who Thoth is, very quickly? If you don't, if you're in Soul Shift, you're going to hear all about Thoth tomorrow because it's our first class and we're going to be deep diving on Thoth a little bit tomorrow. Thoth was a high priest in Atlantis, and after the Atlantean civilization fell, Thoth went to Egypt. And Thoth became the father of hieroglyphics. Thoth is the figure, sort of half ibis, half human, one of these hybrid figures from Egyptian mythology. But Thoth is said to be the father of writing and the father of magic. And so he's also the father of alchemy. And Aleister Crowley was a lot of different things, but he was also an alchemist. So I think he had an intense interest in Thoth, like a lot of us do. My favorite story of Thoth was when Zoe was about 5 years old. A lot of you remember this story because I shared it in my community. I had a book that I was reading on the flower of life, and when I turned the page, there was a picture of Thoth, and I was reading, and she was kind of looking over my shoulder, and she points at Thoth, and she goes, "I know him." And I looked at her, and I'm like, because Zoe's very psychic, and I said, "You do?" And she said, "Yeah, when I was in your belly, he told me all his secrets." I was like, "Oh, Thoth visited you when I was pregnant with you. That's very interesting." So I hope you're excited about that too. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to open our circle. Yeah, so Thoth is part of the trinity known as Hermes Trismegistus, right? So there's Thoth and Hermes and Mercury, which subsumes the Egyptian, Greek, and Roman pantheons. So there's a Thoth in the Greek pantheon, a Thoth in the Roman pantheon, and then there's Thoth in the Egyptian pantheon. And that kind of, when you think of that sacred triangle of those ancient civilizations, that's really the foundations of math, including geometry and sacred geometry, science, chemistry, which comes from, the word alchemy comes from the Arabic al-Khamet, which means from Egypt. And then that also subsumes mathematics and everything. When you philosophy, everything came out of that holy trinity of those ancient civilizations. It's fascinating. So anyway, more on that tomorrow on Soul Shift. If you're into this, you should join Soul Shift, which is my online program. We start tomorrow, and Alexis and Hannah will put a link up for you because you're right on time. You're not late. And if you think this stuff is interesting, we've got a whole year of it ahead. So we're about to get started. Okay. Roll your shoulders back, take a nice deep cleansing breath. And just let yourself start to kind of drop into the space. I always say, just give yourself this half hour with me, you know? This is your time. And it's so important. You're designing your life right now. You're co-creating what will be. It's so good. So we want to welcome in the guides and the guardians to be with us tonight of the 4 cardinal directions, beginning with the guides and the guardians of the East. We welcome you in tonight, guardians of the element of air. We call upon you to bring clarity to us tonight during unclear times, spaciousness, perspective. Help us to open our minds tonight, open our hearts too. We welcome you into our ceremony space tonight. And to the guides and the guardians of the South, keepers of the fire gateway, we welcome you in tonight on this first new moon of this beautiful new year. And we ask you, guides and guardians of the South, to inspire us and encourage us, empower us, strengthen us, light the fire within, and help to kindle the flame for the year ahead. We welcome you into the ceremony space. And to the guides and the guardians of the West, that's the water gateway, we welcome you in tonight for healing, emotional healing and purification, cleansing, helping us to clear the way. Tonight's when we release, you guys. So anything from 2020 that you didn't release for whatever reason last year, tonight is really your shot. And the guides and the guardians of the West will take it and just allow it to wash away with the tide. Sadness, sorrow, grief, depression. If you're ready to let it go, tonight's the perfect night to do that. And we thank the guides and the guardians of the West for teaching us, showing us how to do that with grace. And we welcome them in the space. And to the guides and the guardians of the north under this Capricorn new moon, thank you for encouraging and stabilizing us, grounding us, centering us, protecting us. Help us to stay safe and connected to each other in the days and weeks and months ahead. We give thanks for your presence and patience and welcome you into the ceremony space. And with that, our circle is open. Let it go tonight. Truly let it go. I'm just using the chime to break up some of the energy in the field. This is the earth chime, and I'm going to balance it with the fire chime. So you have 2 crystals in your tools tonight. And these should always be kept with your cards. And this I learned from my first tarot teacher. She was very strong in her conviction about working with these 2 crystals. So that's why I've given them to you. If you have these crystals, I want you to hold them in the rest of our ceremony for tonight. If you don't have these, maybe choose 2 crystals from your collection that you feel really connected to. But the 2 that she said you always have to have as a tarot reader is black kyanite, because it will instantly clear any energy from your cards. But it doesn't need to be cleared. It just needs to touch your deck. So if you want to take a moment just to do that, my teacher would be very proud of you for doing that. And then she was very strict about having a selenite stick. Didn't have to be anything fancy or big. And what she taught us is that when you're going to read tarot, the best way to do that safely is to take your selenite stick, touch the floor. So I'm going to do it. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. And without lifting it from the floor, so I'm tracing on the carpet, do you see? And put your other arm behind you and hand off, again, without lifting it off the carpet, and all the way around. And try to go back right to where you started that line. And then she recommended leaving it sitting like this on the floor in front of you so that you wouldn't forget to, at the end, go back and do the exact same thing afterward. Blue kyanite is a little different than black kyanite because blue kyanite balances energy, but it doesn't clear it. So those are the 2 that she recommended. But if your intuition is guiding you in a different direction, follow your intuition. I will always tell you that. I give you my suggestions, but your intuition for you is always the most accurate source of information. So follow your gut on that. Truly, truly. And the same with your oracle cards too. That's exactly right, Rox. Okay. So we have our candle burning. I need to find my perfume. I told you I've got so many tools sitting here that, what did I do with my Thoth? I just had it and showed it to you. Oh, there it is. It's right in front of me. Okay, so now let's anoint. One of the things I like to do when working with this perfume, sometimes my roller ball has to be cajoled a little bit to do the thing. There we go. Do you know what the caduceus is? It's the symbol of Mercury and Hermes and Thoth. So what it is it's a straight line, right? And then it's the two snakes, right? Winding up. So it's kind of nice as an added touch to call in the energies to draw the caduceus on your arms. I'm going to do the same thing on my right arm. This is just another way of connecting with the energy of Thoth. Get some oil going here. Straight line up, and then one snake rising in one direction and the other snake rising. And now you've got two caduceuses. Thank you, Sherry. No, I found it. It wasn't in my crotch. If you have extra, rub it into your clothes and into your hair and all around. That is lusciousness. You can also, it's nice to put a little bit at your third eye for what you know, just to stimulate your pineal gland, and then a little bit at your ankles. And when you do that, you cover all your meridians, which gets a nice flow of energy coming through. Okay, so we're going to talk tarot now. And I'm going to give you about a 5-minute overview of my take on tarot, and then I'm going to do some readings for all of you. So we're probably going to go for another half an hour or so, just to give you a sense of timing in case you, I know usually we're supposed to be an hour, but it's hard to do it in an hour. And then I'm going to do a little bit of drumming for you as we set our intentions tonight. So this is what the mat looks like that came with your kit. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards for a few of you to help you learn how to do a reading for yourself, especially if you're new. So here's my approach to tarot. You ready? The honey badger version of how to learn tarot. There are two types of cards in the tarot deck, the major arcana and the minor arcana. And arcana in Latin means mysteries. These are a symbolic, archetypal system of divination. It works through art, through imagery, right? And so the major arcana are archetypal themes, big themes, big energy, right? So when you see the magician card or the high priestess card or the judgment card, this is kind of like, think about this as the big umbrella over your life, right? Big themes. When you do a reading for someone and all the cards that come up are major arcana cards, that tells you that person is big stuff's happening in their life. Especially if some of the themes are conflicting or contradictory, or if they're reinforcing, that tells you a lot. Also, each one of you has a personal card. Did you know that? So when you add up your birthday, all the digits of your birthday, so I'm August 9th, 1973. So that's 8 plus 9 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 3. When you add all those numbers up and then you reduce it down to a single digit, that is called your life path number. And you can figure this out later, go online, go down the rabbit hole if you don't know your life path number. My life path number is a 1/10, right? So that's the magician card. And so the magician is my life path card. And your life path card, which is the magus, right, in the Thoth deck, so Hillary's also number 1, right? That card is sort of a guiding card for your life. It gives you a sense of the major archetype, right, that you should be working with or following in your life. So you see people are saying, oh, I'm the hermit, I'm a 3, my daughter's a 3, she's the empress, right? I've always thought it was cool to be a 2 because then you're the high priestess, right? Although I love being the magician. So if you look at the major arcana of the tarot and you look at the numbers, you'll find your life path card. And that's a really fun way to learn the major arcana. Now, the major arcana tell a story. Okay, it begins with the Fool. And as you go through the major arcana, those are the characters, the archetypes that the Fool meets on his journey. The major arcana is the journey of the Fool. So the Fool starts out on his journey, and then he meets the magician, who teaches him how to use his tools. Then he meets the high priestess, who teaches him wisdom. And then he meets the empress, who's pregnant and luxurious, and she's like, I'm here to have a good time. And he's like, now I'm ready for this. And he keeps going and encountering, and he learns a different lesson from each one of the archetypes in the major arcana. So, and maybe I need to do a bonus class on this at some point, like a free kind of public bonus class on the major arcana, because we don't have enough time to go into all of it tonight, but it is a really fascinating conversation. And like I said, my tarot classes online are available for you too. Now the minor arcana. The minor arcana are divided into 4 what are called suits, okay? And the suits are the elements. And so in the Thoth deck, you have the wands, the swords, the cups, and the discs. In the Rider-Waite, the discs are the pentacles, right? So the swords are air, cutting through, bringing clarity, right? Slicing through to the heart of the matter. The wands are fire. So they are all about movement, intensity, energy, courage, strength, valor, all of those fiery emotions. Then you have the cups, that's water, and love, right? You think about pouring out from a chalice, right? The emotions, the feelings. And then you have the discs or the pentacles, and that's earth. And so that is about stability, money, income, resources, finances, home, everything that you think about with earth energy. So you have the major arcana, which are the big archetypes, the big themes, and then you have the minor arcana, which are separated into 4 suits, which represent the 4 elements. And then you have what are called the court cards within that. So in the Thoth deck, you have the princess, the prince, the queen, and the knight. And those are your 4 suits. And the court cards represent people. So the page traditionally is someone who's young, where the king is someone who's someone older, right? The page of cups, for example, can represent kind of immature, youthful love, whereas the king of cups represents that, you know, maybe that husband figure or that paternal figure in your life. So once you know all of that, then the last thing to study are the numbers. And the intensity of the cards tends to build as the numbers get higher, okay? So a 1 or a 2 is not as powerful as the 10 of cups, for example. So the energy gets more intense as you increase in the numbers too. So when you take all this together, then you can start to tell a story with your cards. And one of the things about the Thoth deck, by the way, I'm going to find a card to kind of show you as an example. This is such an interesting card to me. Here's the Prince of Cups. And remember that the Prince in the Thoth deck is the Knight in the Rider-Waite. But when you see this card, what comes to mind for you? One of the things about the Thoth deck is the imagery is part of the story. So you want to look at what's that prince holding, right? There's a snake coming out of that cup. And you've got the clouds behind, right? What an intense image, right? And so when you're reading this card, you want to sense, how do you feel when you look at that image? Does it feel inviting to you? Does it feel like you want to resist that, right? How do you feel when you look at that card in addition to what it represents? Well, we know that the prince represents love. This is the Prince of Cups. Love at middle age, right? Someone in their 30s, 40s, usually male with that card, coming forward emotionally to support you in some way. And so if the person was asking, well, is there new love in my life? And they pulled this card, this could be a yes. And then we would look at the other cards in the reading for reinforcement, right? So if you see other cups in the reading, then that might tell you, yes, love is coming. Or if you see the Tower card, that could mean potentially a breakup is going to happen. Or after a breakup, new love might come. And so you could pull additional cards to reinforce and to bring clarity, right? It's interesting, right? It's some people feel more connected to this deck, and some people think it's a little bit, you know, strange. I mean, the art is really intense and kind of psychedelic. I like it because there's just so much imagery to cling to, and you can really, I'm a storyteller, so you can really start to find things to tell a story about. So what I want to do is I would like for someone to volunteer, And I'm going to pull 3 cards for you, and we're going to do our spread, past, present, future. I'm going to do this for 2 of you tonight. And you can use the guidebook for sure if you want. There's a link on the box where you can go and download the guidebook to help you if you want additional perspective. One of the things I love about the Thoth deck that the Rider-Waite deck does not have are keywords on the cards for every card. Except for the suits, I think. I don't think there's keywords for the suits, but every other card has a keyword. So I think it's kind of cool too, because in a way they function almost like an oracle deck, in addition to being a tarot deck too. Okay, let's see. I am feeling called to Sabrina Ray. Hi, Sabrina Ray. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle my deck. And I'm going to say your name 3 times because that brings you into the field. So Sabrina Ray, Sabrina Ray, Sabrina Ray. And I'm going to pull a card for your past. And a card for your present. And I'm going to pull a card for your future. Girl, you just got the lottery card for your future card. Happy new moon in Capricorn to you. Oh my God. Whenever I pull this card, and it isn't very often, but when I do, I get so excited. So let's take a look at Sabrina Ray's cards for past, present, and future. So this is the card for the past. This is the 8 of Discs, and this is the Prudence card. The 8 of Discs. So I want you guys to share your interpretations. I'll share mine too. When you see this card, what comes to mind for you? First of all, the number 8 is always a number of expansion, possibility. Many people consider it to be a number of abundance too. So what comes up for you when you see this card? This is talking about her past and where she's come from. I hope you're excited, Sabrina. What comes up for you when you see this card? Isn't this a cool one? Mm-hmm. Growth, I like that. It is a money card, right? The discs always represent resources. It's an earth card, right? Fruition, abundance, opportunities. One of the things I really like about this card is the symmetry, right? It's got these beautiful flowers. They're all equally sized. It is a tree that is producing, it's flowering, right? So a tree that's flowering is absolutely healthy, vital, lush, right? So this tells me that in the past, there has been abundance for you, a time of enjoyment, a time when, of enough resources. Strong roots, oh, I like that too. Strong roots with abundance. What a beautiful interpretation too. Fruition, I like that word too that you guys are using. Flourishing is beautiful too. Thank you for that, Stina. Okay, yeah, resources, right? Not just surviving, but thriving, right? It's beautiful. Now her present, let's take a look at her present card. You guys are good at this. Isn't this fun? I can do this all night long. My team could not, but I could do it. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Swords, right? And remember that the Knight is the equivalent of the King. So the King of Swords, what is swords energy? Do you remember what element the swords are? Swords are air, right? Clarity, conviction. And remember that the Knight, the King, represents an adult male, right? So this could be someone in your life who is coming through, and again, look at the art, right? Coming through to cut through, to bring clarity. Maybe there's somebody who is there to support you, Sabrina, there to encourage you, or maybe you're looking for that. That could be the other side of this too. Maybe you need this in your life right now. Maybe you're calling it in. And part of the reason why I say that is the card that I pulled for the future for you. Yeah, isn't it cool? Flight, right? Expansiveness, moving through the air, cutting through, swift action, totally true. Advancing, protection. There's definitely a protective element to this card. This is like, don't worry, I'm here, I'll take care of it, right? Now let's look at her future. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite cards in the entire tarot. So cheers, Sabrina. To get the Ace of Cups on a new moon. It's like everybody's dream. So how does this card make you feel? This is they call it the lottery card, right? It's wishes and dreams come true. This is abundance of love from all sources, all directions, right? It's the cups. Remember, cups is love and emotion. This isn't the Ace of Discs, right? This is the Ace of Cups. Overflowing emotions, overflowing feelings. So when you look at her spread then, what you see is abundance on the physical plane becomes abundance on the emotional plane in the future. So if she were to come to me and say, well, I'm really hoping for love, or I really want to strengthen my partnership, or I want to feel more loved, looking at this, I would say, you got nothing to worry about. That's all happening. Isn't that cool? 2021's looking pretty good for you, Sabrina. I bet you're here for it. I'm excited for you. Okay, let's do it one more time. You ready? Isn't this fun? And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the more your intuition develops too, right? Super fun. Okay, who would like me to read for them? I'm gonna do another reading here. Ready? Yeah, she's got big love coming. Sources seen and unseen. Yeah, it's super fun. Divination is, we're doing a whole year of divination. Next month is runes. You think tonight's fun? Wait till we get into the Norse pantheon. Then we're talking fun. Plus the runes there's so much more to the runes than just divination, at least for me, you know. All right, Kathleen Kamensky. You jumped out. Hi, Kathleen. Okay, Kathleen. A card for your past. A card for your future, or your present. Kathleen. That's the card everybody wants. And for me, present, just so you know, is always plus minus a year or two. Future is usually 2+ beyond. So Kathleen for the future. Oh, it's one of my favorite cards too. It's a great spread for you, Kathleen. Okay, let's do it. You ready? This is the past. It's another one of the lottery cards. Ace of what? What do the discs represent? Do you remember? Pop quiz time. Yeah. So the discs in the Thoth deck are the pentacles in the Rider-Waite deck. So this is your earth element. So the disc, this represents in the past abundance of that earth energy, right? Stability, protection, could be prosperity too. Having a deep well of that earth energy in your life. And then the present card for Kathleen. Oh, I forgot to ask you how you feel about this card. What comes up for you around that? Looks like a womb. That's an interesting theory. You know, one thing for me, I always thought this looked like a different variation on the wheel of the year or the medicine wheel. There's so much symmetry and symbolism and magic there. And remember, with the Thoth deck, it's highly esoteric, right? He worked with Kabbalistic imagery, alchemical imagery. There's a lot going on in the Thoth deck. I see wings, right? Yeah. And then, well, you can absolutely read for yourself. Oh my goodness. Oh yes. You might get really hooked and start doing it every day. Here's her present card. It's the Wealth card. 10 of discs, 10 of pentacles. Definitely see the Kabbalah tree of life there, don't you? And a lot of different symbols, Kabbalah symbols, alchemical symbols, all woven in there. Isn't that cool? Yeah. This feels like grounding, alignment, everything working in harmony and in symmetry and in balance too, which is your present. So I like that for you. Kimberly, hopefully that resonates with you too. Being held is nice too. Yeah. And the gold coins being surrounded by the purple coins. Purple usually as a symbol, as a color represents, it can represent source, it can represent God, it can represent royalty or regal energy. Gold always represents abundance and wealth, right? And then here's her future. It is the 7 of wands. Remember, wands are fire. This is her future. And how does this card make you feel? Come on, camera. There you go. Again, lots of symbolism there. Lots of Thoth symbolism there, right? You have the wands, you have the sort of the ibis and the lotus and the, right? It's a very masculine card, right? Success, good outcomes, right? I love that. Spiritual wealth, I like that too. Fast fortune, interesting. Success and passion. Lots of action. With you on that, Jessica. I agree. This is an action card. So what this tells me is she's got stability in the present and action in the future. But whatever that action is going to lead her to a successful outcome. It's going to lead her to the place she wants to be. And so if she was coming to me and saying, and Kathleen, sorry, I think I said Kimberly, but I'm reading for Kathleen. If she were to come to me and say, hey, you know what, I'm thinking about moving to this place, or I'm thinking about starting a new job, or I'm thinking about writing a new book, do you think I should? Looking at this, what would you say to her, right? I would say, you should go and do that like right this minute, don't you think? Because it looks like she's got abundance around her. She's got a solid foundation in her past, right? And then there's all this movement, energy, and expansion energy, and success energy for her future. So I would say, if you do have plans to create anything between now and the next 3 to 5 years, I would have no hesitation. I would just say, if you're feeling inspired, you should do it. Isn't that cool? So that's a quick and dirty way to read tarot, but I'll tell you something. It's also enough of a foundation to get you started. And then from there, you can deepen your practice and take it to an entirely new level too. That's right, Kathleen's like, I better stop thinking and start doing. Well, it's really true, Kathleen. I mean, I really did just read for you. And if you were to say, hey, I'm not sure, I've been thinking about this thing, or what do you think? I literally would have no hesitation. And then the message to you, I think, is, especially on this new moon on Capricorn, you probably shouldn't have hesitation either. Endless possibilities. So what are your endless possibilities? So I'm going to drum just a little bit for you now. And I want you to reflect on your dream for this year. What is it? You know, if I could wave my magic wand and send you all the energy you need to make your dream come true this year, so that you would come to me on December 31st and say, I did it. What would that be? What's your dream for this year? I have one. Do you have one? So let's ask now the guides and the guardians of the East. To lift that dream of yours up on their wings. Breathe life into it. Say it out loud. I claim, I am, I have. I receive. I enjoy. I celebrate. I'm worthy of. So good. And let's ask the guardians of the fire element to come through and to burn through the obstacles, to empower you, to strengthen you, to support you. That's right. Courage, stamina, strength, power in the South. Fearlessness. I claim, I have, I enjoy, I receive. That's right. I allow, I love that. That's right. And the guides of the West, that's the direction of flow, baby. Let's ask them to just help these energies to flow in our lives, bringing all your dreams to you on the waves. Everything that you seek, everything that you need. We give thanks for clarity, for healing, for ease and flow. Right? I claim, I am, I have, I allow, I enjoy, I celebrate. That's right. And now let's ask the guides and the guardians of the North to stabilize, protect, support, encourage us. Anchor those intentions tonight, the element of earth. Plant them like seeds. I know a lot of you have snow still. Kind of hard to plant a seed right now. But these are spiritual seeds. You can tend them. Yeah. Let the sun shine upon them. I claim, I am, I have, I enjoy, I celebrate, I receive, I receive. would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Where would you go if you knew you were supported? Because you are. By sources seen and unseen. That's right. You are. You are all those things. Tonight, Great Spirit, God, Goddess, Creator, whatever you call it, see us as we set these intentions, as we ask you tonight to lift them on your wings. See us as we dream a new dream. Maybe it's an impossible dream, but we know that nothing is impossible. Support us, encourage us, nourish us as we nourish these dreams in our spirit tonight. And help us to hold the faith when we doubt, or when others doubt us, and remind us how strong we are. Amen. Aho. So it is. So before we close for tonight, I want to share one more thought with you that might help you kind of envision and think about these things. I believe that there are concurrent timelines happening in this universe. So we're here together in one of those timelines right now. But everything that you desire, good health, good fortune, happiness, love, passion, success, those things are already available to you on other timelines. It could be past lives, could be a future lifetime. It could be a healthier you that's ahead of you. And what you have to envision on a night like tonight is gathering in those other timelines, calling in those energy streams. And I saw a lot of you, maybe it's a wealthier you, a healthier you, a thinner you, a happier you, a freer you, right? A you with more time on your hands, a more creative you, a more sensual you, a more embodied you. Well, that exists on some other timeline. So let's call that in tonight. So we give the universe now permission to collapse and condense timelines, to call in the holograms of us from other times, places, dimensions that already are experiencing these things that we wish to experience, and we receive them now in this present moment. Right? So it is. And just call it in. I'll take a little bit of that from that timeline, and I'll take a little bit of that from that timeline, and I'll have a little bit of that from that timeline. And write it. The other thing one of my friends does that I think it's really cool is she takes a wand like this, and she writes her intentions in quartz in the air. I receive financial abundance. Which may seem crazy to you until you realize how energy works. So you might play and try and do that too and see how that feels to you. But you must write, whether it's in the air with quartz or whether it's on paper with a pen, you must write tonight. It's very important. Well, we finished our tarot reading. So we have to go down and we have to take our selenite. My teacher would be very disappointed if I skipped this step. So in her honor, I do that. Well, I'm glad you guys like the background music. It makes me really happy. So let's release our guides and guardians who've been so powerfully with us tonight. I really felt those guardians come into our circle earlier. I'm very grateful. So on this most powerful night, we want to thank the guides and the guardians of the North for being with us, anchoring in that beautiful earth energy under this Capricorn new moon. We thank you for your peace, patience, and presence. And we release you with gratitude. And to the guides and the guardians of the West, we thank them for helping us release tonight, and also to attract a new level of flow and grace and beauty. And we thank and release the guides and the guardians of the West with so much gratitude. And to the guides and the guardians of the South, thank you for empowering us tonight, strengthening us, encouraging us, supporting us from below, reminding us of our own capacity to transform in every moment and how to do that, giving us the tools to do that tonight too. So we thank and release the guides and the guardians of the South, and to the guides and the guardians of the East. Thank you for this new moon, this new year, this new cycle. Thank you for teaching us to have faith and to rise above the circumstances of our lives, to how to fly above, have clarity and spaciousness. We give thanks and release the guides and the guardians of the East. Aho, so it is. Our first new moon ritual of 2021. How cool was that? I really enjoyed being with you guys tonight. Thank you so much for being here as you always are, but especially tonight on this first new moon of the year. I really wanted tonight to be very special for all of us. So I'm gonna finish us with a little bit of root chakra medicine. So grateful for you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed tonight. So the good news is this party continues. Next month, I'm going to be teaching you the runes. So the unfortunate news is I think it's like 80% of next month's kits are sold out before I went live. People were really excited because people love the runes, which is the Norse form of divination that I'm going to be teaching you next month. We had these custom runes made out of iolite with quartz and labradorite, and you get the full set of runes plus your candle and your charm. You get a little cheat sheet that tells you all the rune meanings. You get your perfume. And then I did a special thing where one person who gets their kit tonight wins my bracelet. This really cool amethyst and citrine cuff. A lot of you saw this earlier. So good luck. Your code for today is 18 balance for 18% off if we have them left. would welcome you to get a set. One thing you need to know, so I'm going to blow out my candle for tonight. On your candles this year are charms. These are little silver charms. Aren't they cool? And it says they're custom, they're stamped. And we had them done with gold overlay. This one, your charm for tonight is the star card. And then your charm for next month is Yggdrasil, which is the tree that Odin was hanging from when he downloaded the runes. And then at the end of the year, I have a charm necklace coming that you can clip all your charms onto and wear them. Isn't that cool? I've always wanted a charm necklace, so I thought I'll make one for you. So anyway, that's what we're doing next month. I'm teaching you all about the Norse pantheon and Odin, who is called the All-Father in the Norse tradition. And I'm going to be teaching you how to cast runes. And you're going to get your casting mat. And so we're going to cast, and then we're going to read them in the order. We're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And I will do runic readings, just like we did tonight. So I hope you can join us. And good luck. We'll let you know who wins the cuff, too. So thank you again for being here. Happy new moon. As I told you, writing down your intentions tonight is so important. Go brew yourself a cup of your favorite tea, or pour a glass of your favorite wine, and sit down and take the time and pretend that I'm giving you an assignment. 1 page. Just 1 page. Don't worry about grammar. The only thing you need to worry about is how you phrase your sentences. And again, I am, I have, I claim, I enjoy, I receive, I allow, I welcome, I celebrate. And go do it now. Love you. Have a beautiful rest of your evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Soul Shift, I'm going to fly over to our Facebook group right now for a few minutes to say hi to you, just because I want to. So if you're in Soul Shift and you're still awake and you have a little energy in you, I'm going to spend about 15 minutes over there with you. So I'm going to go take a break real quick, and then I'm going to go log on to our Soul Shift Facebook group. So I'll see you over there. And if not, have a beautiful rest of your evening. I hate to ask this, but please like and subscribe to this channel. And I have to ask that because otherwise you don't get all of the important information that you need, including what's coming. Have you seen this? The Tucson Gem Show was canceled because of COVID. So we are taking it online. And so if you want to make sure you don't miss any of the fun, I'm going to be doing live interviews with some of my favorite folks from Mexico, Peru, Brazil, Madagascar. We're going to have special products and all kinds of fun things happening that whole week. So make sure you're following us on Instagram and YouTube and all the things so that you don't miss the first ever online Tucson Gem Show, which we are hosting. Isn't that exciting? Oh my God, we have all new products for this. Wait till you see incredible gemstones. My wand maker has made custom wands just for this Tucson show. You're gonna lose your mind. So make sure that you are following that too. And then, like I said, you actually can still join Soul Shift. If you're really interested in Thoth and alchemy and tonight really stimulated something in you, head over to sagegoddess.com/classes. I'd love to have you there. I'm only going to teach alchemy once this year. So if you were feeling called to it, tonight would be a great time to join. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not doing wholesale anymore at Sage Goddess. Just because it was, we're in this year of this pandemic, we're really trying to focus on the work that, the core of the work that we do, which is this. And so we just didn't have enough resource to really support a wholesale program. So we've stopped that for now. Doesn't mean we won't do it again in the future, but we really wanted to focus all of our energy and our resources on this work this year. So yay! I'm so glad you guys are here tonight. Thank you for being there. Mwah! I'll see you in Soul Shift in a few minutes, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. See you guys soon. Have a great rest of your evening.